So man, it's your big brother K-Rino. Look, this is more, I guess we can call it a public service announcement in a way, but it's more just of a call for us to kind of understand our own power. In the midst of this winter storm that we're going through in Texas, we're seeing again, the true nature of a lot of these so-called public officials, so-called leaders, um, governors and senators and mayors and different people who are supposed to be, who have been given the task of leading the people in times of crisis like this. So in the midst of that, I made a video about the mayor in Colorado City who said that the people are owed nothing and you got to fend for yourself and stop asking for a handout. Also, got word that Ted Cruz, one of the uh, fakest, snakish individuals in the game, he dipped off with his family to Cancun. He like, man, I got to get the hell out of here. And he's a person who acts like he's for the people, but he's not as good as disguising his snakery as some of the other ones. So everybody knows the kind of cat he is. Um, Greg Abbott, saw him on TV just telling straight out lies about why the blackouts and things like that are going on. And Rick Perry, he said, hey man, the people should be willing to be without power and deal with the blackouts and the outages and lack of water if it would keep government out of Texas's personal business. And what is Texas' personal business? That's basically the fact that we are in this situation because the um, the grid in Texas is not set up or designed to deal with this level of harsh cold. Not set up like that because we don't get that kind of weather out here. But that's a whole other issue. It's also a privately set up situation. So anytime you got people that's doing dirt, they don't want other people coming in and say, "Hey, what y'all doing over there? What you regulating?" And they like, "Man, this our thing. You have no right to be involved in it because they got their own hustle going on." And I'm just speaking it in layman's terms, so people who might not understand the big words and the terminology of how this thing works with ERCOT, which is the company that monitors the grid and all that crap. It's a whole lot to it that I'm just learning. But at the end of the day, I'm saying all that basically to say that all of these things are examples of why it's a must that we start to do for ourselves. We got to. Because we elect these people, we put them in these positions only for them to fail the people over and over and over again. So millions of people without power, people without water, people struggling, man. No food at the stores, no food in the houses because we don't prepare ourselves and we look to them to be the saving grace when God's words all along been, hey, Babylon is gonna fall, and where the hell you think we at? See? So we got to start making preparations and doing for self to the best of our ability so when these kind of situations arise, which they will again, we will at least have some kind of grip on it where we won't be how we are right now. Everybody scrambling and in panic mode and lacking in necessities, plain and simple. And to give us the confidence that it can be done, I'm gonna give you examples of how we do it anyway. When you think about Hurricane Harvey that hit a few years back, you had all of these organizations raising money, collecting money. J.J. Watt and all these cats collecting 30, $40 million that, to my knowledge, nobody in the hood saw any of that money. And if they did, it was very minimal. But I don't know of any accounts of how that money directly trickled down and impacted the people. For all we know, there were other rich people that lined their pockets with a lot of that donation money. We saw Joel Osteen refuse to open the doors of his church during Hurricane Harvey until the backlash hit. We saw that. Now we're seeing Ted Cruz escape with his family to Cancun. You're seeing all these cowardly acts, selfish and cowardly acts carried out by the people who we look to as the so-called leaders. But in the midst of calamities like Hurricane Harvey and others that have come in between what we're dealing with now and even in this one right now, who's always the ones that's stepping up? It's the people. It's y'all. It's the people that's stepping up, going out, creating food drives, clothing drives, always getting out into the community, being hands-on, and in most cases, in practically all cases, using their own resources to do it. We have people like Mattress Mac who do a phenomenal job in getting out in the community, opening his doors. We have people like the Nation of Islam who do a phenomenal job getting out, hands-on, in the community. We have people like Trader Truth getting out, hands-on in the community. It's always the people, and we have people, just regular people like you and me, that put their little crumbs together and get out and help the best that we can. And those efforts are usually the ones that have the impact. So we got to stop being fooled by this delusional idea that government, Red Cross, FEMA, all these different places are actually making the impact. Because it's impacting somebody, just not impacting us. So this video was not made to even be some video to bash Ted Cruz and all these other cats, because at this point, we should already know who they are and how they think, what goes on inside of them internally, and the fact that, like Michael Jackson say, they don't really care about us. We can't sit around whining and lamenting about what these devils do. You can't do it. This video was made to explain how us doing for self and us doing for us is an absolute must. Because the government officials you just can't trust. So keep that in mind, man, and use this as a teaching moment, because people have died in this storm, bro. People have froze to death, man. People who were alive last week have frozen to death in this storm because they just were trying their best to escape it, or whether they sleeping in the cars or whatever the case might be, man. All behind the greed and incompetence of the so-called leaders. So follow God's instruction and let's lead ourselves and work for each other. It's your big brother K-Rino, man. Y'all be safe out there, man. Peace.